Hey gang, happy Sunday. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed a good week of racing. So my question is, what happens if your 4, 5, 6 or 4, 5, 6, and 7 runners run better than your 1, 2, 3 runners? And I don't necessarily mean run faster than them. I also mean they have a greater improvement than the 1, 2, and 3 do. What happens? How do you treat it? How do react? How do they react? Okay, how can we go about finding a silver lining to this? Because this happened yesterday actually with a fellow coach, and I was talking with him about it, and this is a good way to really find the silver lining for your athletes. And again, if you think about it, generally your 1, 2, 3s, for the most part, with some exceptions, stay the 1, 2, 3s, and they're generally early season already where they're going to be or close to it, right? There isn't much of a massive improvement, again, with some exceptions. And the 4, 5, 6, and 7 generally are working their way up. And this is where championships can be won and championships can be lost, where this folks can close the gap, okay, and tighten that spread from 1 through 5, or in some cases 1 through 6 or 1 through 7 if there's ties. And that has happened before. So yesterday was like a mud fest too. Pre-nationals, Manhattan College Invitational. And by the time this video comes out, it'll be a couple of days after. So when I say yesterday, I'm recording this right now. It's Sunday. This video is going to come out Monday or Tuesday. So just a heads up. So, but it was a mud fest. It was a slop fest. And it wasn't a day it was conducive to fast running, but some people did run fast. So, and that happens too. So, but this is something that's not really talked about in a lot of other areas. And I like to talk about things like this. So if you're a coach or an athlete and this type of stuff interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Just as a heads up. And if you do, and you want to talk about other running content, even the 400 plus videos that I've already put out, you have direct access to me. Hit the notification bell as well. That way you know exactly when videos do come out. But blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com is my email address. You have direct access to me. Okay, that way you have a coach you can speak with, whether you're a coach or an athlete, somebody you have here that you can talk to on a regular basis, especially if you want a detailed breakdown of my own videos, training programs. If you're a half miler, 3K, 5K, it doesn't matter. You're training for the marathon. I've got training plans for every distance on this channel already, for every level, and I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. So, but in this particular situation, when that happens, and like I said, this is a good opportunity for the back of the pack to close the gap for the front of the pack. And one of the things I told them, I said, this is probably the first time that some of the guys in the back physically saw their teammates in front. Now you're able to keep their eyes on them. So this is something you can build on now, okay? And that's what we want for the next race, okay? Now I want you to keep your eyes on your teammates, okay? Keep them in your sights. Now you know that you can run closer to them, right? And have a closer gap. We're going to continue that. Now, there may be some improvement moving forward, but if you can get another 15, 20-second improvement for everybody, that's a massive improvement for your team. Massive improvement for your team. And like I said, the 3, 4, and 5s, even the 6s and 7s, this is where championships are won or lost. The 1 and 2s, for the most part, and 3s, for the most part, are already expected to be there and generally perform consistently without injury. So everybody else is where you least expect this type of performance, but it's more than welcome. More than welcome. And when you have that with those guys or gals, right, whether it's Caitlin or Christopher, whoever their names are, that have a massive improvement, and generally that curve of improvement is more substantial on the back end of the pack or the back end of the top 7 than in front of the top 7. So this could be the difference again by winning conference, districts, states. This could be where it's at, which is why it's important, and I say this a lot, is to be training at the appropriate pace ranges, right? To make sure that the back of the pack improves the way they should be improving, and treat those athletes just like you would everybody else. Everybody on that team is important, no matter what, okay? And it's the 5, 6, and 7s who can step up and cover for the 3s or 4s, maybe even the 2s. In some cases, the 1s. It has happened before. And if they're fit and ready and attentive and aware of what's going on and healthy, this can make a huge difference. This is why it's important to treat that team like a family. It's important to make sure that everybody's training in the appropriate pace ranges. And why do I say that? And how do you do that? I talk about a 1 mile time trial, testing your athletes before the season starts. You can also test them towards the end of the season and see how much they've improved. So it also simulates going out super hard in races, which happens as we get into the latter part of the championship season. And it's a good confidence builder when you can show your athletes how fit they have become, or how much fitness they've gained over this season. Okay, and these are important little things, little tidbits of information that can be monumental in terms of not only their improvement but their mental capacity and their confidence levels too. If they're confident and feeling good and thinking they can actually do this, it's one of the things my college coach always used to tell me. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. And say that a few times to yourself. It makes sense. If you think you can, or if you think you cannot, you're right. And that always stuck with me. It really did. And getting your athletes fit, getting them to believe that they can, really, really goes a long way. So I wanted to share that with you today. So if the back end of your top 7 performs better than your top 7, that's than the top end of your top, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing more often than not. So it's definitely something to build on and take advantage of, and find a way to create a silver lining. And again, the fact that they can see their teammates, and it's a little bit tougher to do in college races, which are longer, but if you can see your teammates in the distance, then you're closer than you might think you are, especially in the shorter race, the high school race, the 5Ks and the 4Ks and stuff like that. So these are definitely good things, good mental notes, good notes to keep an eye on, and another way to help keep your athletes focused in races. And now so we're approaching championship season, that becomes even more prevalent, because you want to close that gap as much as you possibly can and score the least amount of points in a championship season. So that's what I got for you today. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the season. And if you have any questions at all, if you want me to go live and talk about anything, just put it in the comments or reach out to me via email. Talk to you next time.